Hello, everybody. Welcome to my very wonderful channel. I am just successful. I'm the biggest success that has ever been on the planet. You are anytime welcome to subscribe to my channel and do me that sort of a very absolute little tiny favor. Do me that sort of a very little tiny favor. If you really want to be successful, you need to understand the word I can't. Put it out of your vocabulary. Put it completely out of your vocabulary. You feeling me? For very first, what I want you to understand, it is a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. And I need to admit something. I have a very fantastic, brilliant time on the planet. The world is something beautiful, but the situation is, if you really want to become successful, you're gonna step into a lot of obstacles. A lot of obstacles means the world is not prepared. The environment is not prepared to serve your success. You have to get your success. You have to fight for your success. You have to maintain that sort of successful upscale level. It's only the man in the mirror. What do I mean by that? Do me that sort of little tiny favor. Go straight directly to the bathroom and watch the reflection in the mirror. You see something beautiful for very first. And that man, that individual, or maybe a woman or whatever, that individual is in charge of his clean apartment. That individual is in charge to walk around in clean clothes. That individual is in charge to keep the world away. Stupidity away out of a circle. You are the man who is the master of your universe. Everything you do should serve something bigger, greatness. You feel me? For very first, what I want you to understand before you start your journey, it's very important that you start to read. Before you sit in front of a TV or watch like in an endless mode, for example Netflix, or whatever. You are in charge to change the daily pattern routine. Not your neighbor, not the mother, not your father, not your enemies. You the man in the reflection. Only you yourself are able to serve the bigger goal. What I want you to understand is something clearly, I'm gonna give you a brief example. For example, you return back home. What do you do for very first? Of course, you're gonna get rid of your briefcase. You're gonna get rid of your jacket, your shoes, or whatever. But what are you gonna do briefly? What are you gonna do basically? For very first, you're gonna switch on your computer, right? Or you're gonna switch on the television, or you're gonna put on music or whatever. That is what everybody does. That is what everybody does. Watch that picture, for example. You see these bluish guys, blue pillars, and you see a red pillars. You need to become an ultra alpha individual. You gotta take the lead in your life. You gotta separate yourself from the crowd, from the stupidity of the crowd. And for the rest of your life, you gotta separate yourself. Separation is the only key to success. If you return home and turn on your TV, that is what everybody does. If you return home and watch like Netflix, that is what everybody does after work. If you go home and whatever, I don't know, so what do you need to do? You need to change the daily routine of your life. The daily routine of your life is, for example, how to change that. For very first, I want you to do sport. What I do is basically every day every day, 8 times a day sport. Not 2 times a day, not 3 times a day, not 5 times a day. I am telling you, 8 times a day sport. What I say by 8 times a day sport, it means in general, you can't start immediately to do sport 8 times a day. What I want you to do is like start very first with little tiny moves, little tiny steps. For example, go out for a run immediately, like just around the corner or up and down the street. That's basically all you need to do, for example, but you gotta maintain that process at least 360 days a year, so. And additionally, you gotta read. That is very, very crucial. Otherwise, you're not gonna make it to the bigger upscale level if you do not read. You gotta set an appointment, like for example, you're not gonna see a change immediately. It means a change is going to come like after 3 months of tough hard work. If you maintain that sort of a process to work, like to do your sport exercises every single day, it means like you're gonna see a result. Your body is going to change within 3 months. But if you think after 7 days you're gonna see a big step ahead, I'm gonna promise you that it takes a little while, but the more you focus on your journey, so the more you work on yourself, the more you work on your inner stability, the more you work like to keep your apartment clean. I gonna tell you, watch that picture of that apartment, for example, that is the goal. That is the goal. That is the goal of success. That is like, if you maintain a certain kind of a process, you need to understand success is only a journey. It's a journey of everyday routine. I'm gonna give you a precise description what success is. It is. Oh, hold on. So it is a competition. It is a competition like a tennis competition. It's like, I don't know, if we take for example the tennis player Roger Federer as our absolute guide example. Roger Federer, I remember I watched an interview and he was like, tennis is the very first he wakes up, he eats something, and he starts to play tennis, so he goes to bed, and he started to rethink how to improve his skills as a tennis player, for example. So we take a football player, another, I'm not into that sort of soccer game, absolutely, I do not follow that sort of situation, soccer. But what I can tell you right now is, that individual, Ronaldo, so he is he's like the equivalent of an Elvis Presley in sport, so he is very, very dedicated to his craft, so, and, what I want to tell you, see it as a competition, see it like, there are people who are willing to take you down, so that is, it's just a game, it's just like a game, one team plays against the other team, and the better team is going to win the game, it's that simple, and you need to train yourself, and then the big day of a competition is going to come around, and it's all about whether, how much you prepared yourself, whether you're gonna win or you're gonna lose. It's that simple, it is that simple. Well, everybody, if you really want to make that sort of a change, go to the mirror, point the finger at the man in the mirror, and start immediately to change. Start immediately to clean your apartment. Start immediately to clean your shoes. What you do when you return back home from work, of course, it's challenging. You are tired. You are exhausted. Yeah, that is very, very normal. I consider that as absolutely very, very normal. But in the fact is, in general, if you really want to make a change, that man, only that man in the mirror, that man in the reflection is able to make that sort of a big step ahead. Not your neighbor, not your father, not your former enemies, not your ex-girlfriends or whoever, So why don't you start immediately to read a book? Why don't you go to evening school, for example? Why don't you start to invent something like that serves the audience, that serves people, For example, Steve Jobs created the iPhone, for example, so he was a billionaire, he's dead. But in general, you need to understand that journey, so you need to serve a bigger audience if you wanna, my future net worth gonna be $900 billion. I am telling you, $900 billion. I do not talk $1 billion, $2 billion, so I want to make something like to serve the whole planet. I want to serve the whole planet, basically, so the whole planet. I want to give a solution to any sort of a problem, so that is my journey of success, so you gotta learn, you gotta read, you gotta start to study rich individuals for very first. You're not gonna make it tomorrow, I'm telling you, but I'm gonna give you another miracle. If you after a year, if you maintain that process, you're gonna find something out. You're gonna find something out, for example, well, when I started, I actually started to change specifically at that single day when I make that sort of a decision. But you're gonna realize that sort of an idea like a year later. A year later, you're gonna realize, well, that was a journey. That was a short journey, excuse me, because you need to understand a short journey. A year is nothing. A year is really, really nothing. But you can change completely everything: your mindset, the shape of your body, your apartment within 1 year. I promise you. I promise you that. Even your financial situation, you can change it within 1 year. I promise you that. Well, everybody, I got an Instagram, and watch the link below. You're welcome to follow me on Instagram, and if you have any sort of a question, do me that sort of a favor. Do not hesitate. Just ask me. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'm out.